What is good, people, and welcome back to the Hype Report. Now, today is a very special episode as I'm joined with a very good guest. We've kind of moved to a bit of a guest format now. So I introduce to you SneakerDenn, also known as Dennis. What's good, bro?
Other way around.
Oh, yes.
But it works. It works.
What a professional stuff.
It works.
What's good, bro?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for coming, bro. Like I said before, I'm a big fan, and you've done some really interesting stuff. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do in the sneaker space.
So I sell mainly, like my main activity is selling vintage kicks, like on the rarer end of things. Started with Dunks, but now I do a lot of vintage Air Force Ones, 85 Jordans, and other stuff like Sean Carter's, Ice Creams, just the old stuff like 2000s, 90s. Yeah. And I mean, I like to say that I'm not just a seller. I also like curate and like create content and inform. And I have a brand as well, Outsole. So got to plug that in.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely not a traditional reseller. You definitely do some crazy bits, and we've got some bits here today that we'll go into later, and they had a pretty wild. I mean, so how did you actually get into this space? Like, how did you get into reselling?
So it went pretty quick. I mean, I got into sneakers like end of 2018, early 2019 through a couple of friends of mine on my basketball team who were already pretty much, sneakerheads. And I don't know, they kind of showed me the way. Like, I asked them a bunch of questions like, wait, how does this work? Like, how'd you get these limited drops, blah. And then did it a little bit like on the side, just signing up to raffles, like hit on a few pairs, made maybe 1,000 pounds in a year with the few wins you get. And then the kind of real turning point was when the Off-White Dunks were kind of rumored, the first trio. So
they were the red pair, the
Michigans and the Pine Greens.
Yeah.
By then I knew the impact that Virgil had on like popularity of like Jordan 1s and Jordan 1s were popping, and I didn't know anything about Dunks. And I remember the Jeff Staple Panda Pigeon that came out that year, 2019, which kind of put the Dunks on my map. But I didn't know anything about Dunks. And when I saw the Off-White leaks, I was like, wow, these are fire. These look super similar to Jordan 1s, but no one is really paying attention to this silhouette right now. So I just started digging into Dunks and discovered that you could find super good deals on older pairs, just because in 2019, Dunks hadn't been brought back by Nike yet.
Yeah.
Like the latest releases, well, you had SB all the time, but SB was kind of still sleeping at that time. Yeah. Regular Dunks were not a thing. No one was wearing Dunks. Yeah. So I got into it deep quite quickly. And then I just trusted the fact that they were going to make a comeback because Virgil was doing that collab. And then obviously the Travis SBs came out. And then what happened. I mean,
the Dunk hype was insane. I mean, it was absolutely crazy. I mean, like you said, the SBs have obviously had a core following for ages, but like back when I was getting into it, I don't know what year that was now, but like you said, there was no one was wearing Dunks.
Yeah.
If I would go, I initially was a lot more streetwear and sneakers, but even if I was to go to like a Supreme drop and queue up, no one would be wearing Dunks. Yeah. No one would be wearing regular Dunks. And then all of a sudden, like, it was just insane. Like, it was crazy. Like, regular people were like so desperate. Like, not even like proper sneakers. Like, anyone wanted to get a pair of Dunk Lows.
Yeah, Dunk Highs as well. I mean, I sold some regular Dunks from like 10, 15 years ago when they weren't available yet because Nike hadn't brought back everything. Like that early 2020. Well, the whole year of 2020 was just crazy because COVID. Because Dunks weren't available like that. Like Nike had only brought back like the Syracuse Dunks and the Kentuckys and like a few here and there, but they hadn't started like mass producing them. Yeah. And people were just hungry for Dunks. So it was crazy.
Yeah, I think going back to the COVID point, one thing that really boomed like the sneaker culture in general in 2020 was the fact that over here we had like furlough. So everyone actually, so people think people had less money in COVID. Well, initially people actually had more because no one was going out.
Yeah.
No one was spending, anything at the weekend or whatever. So people were buying materialistic shit to basically cover up for their boredom, which is completely fair. That's completely fair enough.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was so easy for a trend to spark a couple of like.
Yeah. It was the perfect. It's something that's probably never going to happen again to that extent, because I don't see any other silhouette that has the potential that the Dunk had in terms of being liked by masses.
So universal.
And so slept on. You're never going to have that boom again from like going from a pair that was available for 30 pounds on Depop, eBay, from 2003, 2010, like cool stuff, to then being so hyped. It was crazy. So I kind of I was lucky to be in that moment, but it was a unique time.
How do you feel about platforms like TikTok, like booming like the sneaker? Do you think TikTok had an impact on the sneaker game, like the demand for it?
Honestly, like I'm not a big TikTok person. Like I struggle to create or interact on there. I'm so much more comfortable on Instagram. But Instagram, like from my experience, because especially during COVID, like I was even less so focused on TikTok, because TikTok kind of came a bit later in the sense that you weren't like, you had to get on there. You know what I mean? Like when Instagram started focusing on reels and things like that, like you had to make at least some sort of leap to TikTok. But like when I started, it was Instagram, but of course COVID as well. Everyone's on social media. So everyone's, you can't rock shit in the street. So you're going to show it off on social media. It's going to create that hype as well.
I think Instagram and TikTok have very similar effects on the game, and it definitely boomed it. Or it definitely had maybe not increased, but for the regular sneakerheads, people in it who were into sneakers previously. But I think in terms of bringing new people to the space,
for sure.
I think just because it was so easy to come across content and sneaker content, people were like, oh shit, I want to get involved, and obviously that had a massive spark to the trend.
And even I remember like I had a lot of customer created content for me on my Instagram as well, because people were excited to share stuff on social media. When they got new stuff, they'd go like outside, take pictures or something and post them, which is less the case now, because now you have a real life where you have less time to post. You have less need to post because you meet people in real life. But back then, it was social media was it. So combination of everything was crazy.
I mean, I know you sold some shoes to big celebrities, some rappers and music artists, basketball players, whatever. Did the majority of them come through social media?
I mean, all of them initially, the contact was made on Instagram.
And they just, so let's say, how did they get in touch?
They checked DMs.
They just reached you.
I mean, there's been a few who've messaged me first, but I mean, to be honest, I reach out for the most part. But it helps when, like, you got to start somewhere, obviously, but then as things progress, you have more mutuals, like they can see that their friends, the people that are in their circle follow me or have reposted me, or like trusted pages, like, the sneaker blogs, or like Hidden New York was huge for me as well during COVID. So that brought me some people, some eyes for sure.
Sick.
And then, I mean, Instagram is a powerful tool. So,
who are, if you don't mind me asking this, and you might have to be a little bit private about it, but who are like who is the biggest celebrity you've sold a shoe to?
I mean, it's I guess like in terms of Instagram following, because otherwise it's difficult to rank, but like the Migos, Lil Yachty, few like Leroy Sane.
That's crazy.
I don't know, like Daniel Arsham.
Yeah, he's cool. Yeah, he's cool.
I mean, yeah, Virgil technically didn't buy from me, but I got him a pair.
Nice.
And I mean, yeah, music industry, quite a few people. I just had a super random encounter in LA with Rich the Kid, and he like grabbed 3 pairs, just like these hip hop circles. There's so many mutuals across the industry that when you get your foot in the door, then people kind of trust you, and the word goes around. So
that's crazy. So what is the craziest pair someone's bought? Like what a rapper's bought of you, or someone like who's relevant?
I mean, like I think that the craziest, generally the real craziest pairs in terms of value go to rich guys, not celebrities. So there's a difference between real wealth and athletes and rappers and athletes. I'd say they can go up to $10,000, but like it's gonna be on a very rare occasion that they're gonna do that. Like, anything above 5,000 is gonna cool them off. Whereas like the pairs that are gonna go for 20, 30,000, like that's people who really, have money, and it's kind of like art collectors and things like that who consume sneakers kind of in a different way than these guys who buy shoes at the end of the day to rock them, and they're not going to spend. Like it's weird because sometimes it doesn't make sense. You think like they're going to spend X amount of money on like LV bags and like flex all this cash and everything, but like they're not going to spend $10,000 on a shoe easily. Like it's still perceived as sneakers. It's not. It's less of a luxury item than all the designer stuff that they are gonna spend tens of thousands of dollars on. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, and obviously it's always. I mean, so many stories of discovering a bit of the personalities of each of these guys, like how stingy they are, how not stingy they are. And how they do business, and how they are just as people, kind of like doing business with someone, you learn a lot about
especially when money's
how reliable they are, and
for sure. Who is the person you've enjoyed selling a shoe to the most?
From that kind of I mean, like, to be honest, like for the most part, it's a challenge. Good. Like it's not a drive in the park, like when you deal with these types of clients, like they can be quite, I bet. Like they're used to having stuff. I don't know. They're them, they think, it's, kind of the world revolves around them. So like sometimes it can be challenging. It's nice when it's smooth, but it's rarely going to be anything like, Offset from all the people, he hasn't actually bought from me, but I've met him a few times, and he's the most, like, he's super genuine and nice in person. Yeah. As opposed to some other people that I've encountered, but then again, like when it comes to actually messaging, it's going to be tougher to get a reply and stuff. So it's a lot of like chasing and things like that, but it's part of the game.
Yeah, for sure, man. So in terms of going back a little bit to traditional reselling and like the money, like movement of it, what is the most profit you have made on one particular sale? Like one shoe, no bundle deal, just one pair of kicks. Because there is a bit of a there is a bit of a misconception around how much money you can actually make reselling. Like I think everyone, especially a few years ago, people outside the space would be like, damn, he's a reseller, he must be absolutely balling. When the reality is that the margins aren't always that crazy. But I guess it really
I'd
depends.
say the margins can be crazy in the vintage.
Yeah,
I mean, vintage maybe doesn't do it justice. The really rare, hard to find stuff.
And is that because there is less on this simply because there's less on the market?
There's the seller can dictate his price more because there's just less availability. You can't go compare like StockX has this price or eBay, like you just can't. So there is still like on the older SBs, there is most definitely a market that's more or less transparent, like maybe less than the general stuff, but like you can still say like I don't know, a Stussy Cherry SB. Like you can't sell that for $5,000. Like the value is going to be anywhere between like 1 and 3 depending on the condition, and that's the market. And like there is alternatives like other sellers, eBay, things like that, where you can't just make up a price. But with the real rare stuff that you can't find, then that's where you can get a good deal on the buy end because the seller doesn't know how much, and then a good deal on the other end because same, like you can't, it's just not something you can find. So you can make crazy margins in that niche. I don't think that in the traditional reselling game because it's so much more competitive. Like if your price is too high, people are just going to buy from someone else, So, which is not the case in my niche.
No, definitely. Yeah. I mean, like you said, I mean, even when I buy shoes now or when we sell crepes, we have to look basically to get the market price. You have to look on multiple platforms.
Compare
all over the place. Which is it's a good thing, man. It makes it entertaining, I guess. It's just what it is. So what is the most profitable pair?
I mean, it was that was a crazy one, but it was about like $13,000. Yeah.
And what pair was that?
Can't say.
Okay.
But on the more like regular base, it can go up to a few thousand, like 4,000 a pair or something.
That's good.
If you sell a pair for, I don't know, 7 or 8, you might have gotten for it for 4,
So, and I imagine with selling like vintage crepes, there is a bit more of you're sitting on them a bit longer, I imagine, once you're waiting for a client. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's something that I have to improve on with, turning around stock, just because I buy much quicker than I sell, because the margins are bigger than in the traditional game. But you have to wait a bit longer. So as soon as I sell and I have money to invest, I'm gonna buy. But then the sales are not gonna turn over that quickly. I mean, it's consistent, but in terms of speed of purchase versus speed of sale, it's could be quicker. So I do sit on some stuff, and some stuff I don't mind holding on to. Like some stuff I buy with the intention of selling at one point, but I like owning it just because I know it's not something I'm going to find again, because I always do, pop-ups and things like that that it's going to be useful to just display and show more like as an exhibition thing. So some stuff is not like something that I buy for myself, but it's not something that I'm looking to sell until I need it, or I get an offer that I can't refuse or something like that. Just because I know it's something it's a solid investment. It could only go up in price, and I just like owning it. So
that's sick. I guess that type of niche in sneakers is a lot more collectible realm. It behaves a lot more like a collectible, like art. Like, people don't like my parents, for example. I was telling them about you coming on today, and I was showing them. They do take a genuine interest in what I do. But even like what I like the space I'm in now, which is a lot more common sneakers and a lot more common like hype stuff, right? So a lot more well-known stuff. They still don't understand it and don't understand how like Supreme, for example, really basic example, but box logos are releasing this week. The good colorways will go for, like, I don't know, £50 more profit. They can't comprehend how it works. Yeah. So yeah, man, it's
supply and demand.
Yeah, exactly. I try to tell them that, and they've finally, years and years and years of me being around the space and now making a career on it in this weird niche. Yeah. Which is amazing, by the way. They are kind of getting to grips with it, but they still have absolutely no idea what I do. I mean,
it's my parents also just they can't wrap their hand around the fact that I'm selling sneakers for tens of thousands of dollars. They're like, just doesn't make sense.
But. I mean, that's good. And a good example is like shit like this, so like the Bear Bricks and weird collectibles like that. Like they come to my apartment and they're like, Jack, what the fuck is wrong with you? What on earth is that? And I just explained to him, well, it's not going to lose value, so I might lose like a little bit on it, but it's not like I've I'm pretty. You can be pretty smart with it.
There's always going to be people wanting this stuff, exactly. So, and it's limited. So, but not everything goes up in value. Got to be smart. I've made some mistakes holding on to stuff for too long and things. So on to that subject about your kind of like personal mistakes, what advice would you give to someone who genuinely wants to get into reselling right now? Maybe just not so much vintage stuff, but just like more surface level reselling, just sneaker reselling. I'd say, customer service is number one. Yeah. You guys probably know that, and in terms of more like strategy, I'd say don't sit on stock for too long. I think that a lot of people think they're sitting on gold sometimes, and it's like, just keep it moving. Markets do change. You don't want to get stuck with things that, I'm sure, like, I was surprised. I don't follow the regular dunk market, like the recent releases, but like, I remember these dunks, dark curry, I think, dunk lows, that I just remember they were, I don't know, like $400 maybe 2 years ago, because it was like earthy tones were super cool, like popular, and like it was a clean dunk low and everything. And I looked them up, and they're like 150 because they probably re-released them just like they did with Syracuse dunks and everything. Yes. And I'm just thinking, there must have been so many people who lost money on this, and it's like, hold on to stuff that is really, really valuable and unique and cool, and that's not gonna retro. And it, or even, 1985 Jordan 1s, I've had a person that was drove me so crazy. Like I was doing a pop-up in Paris, and this one like random American guy asked me how much the 85 Chicagos are, brand new pair, and I'm like $12,000. And he's like, they're retroing at the end of the year, and I'm like, bro, sure. You're talking nonsense. But so there's rare occasions where, because you have that like X factor, OG or super limited or super special story, you can hold on to that. But like the more regular stuff, like, keep it moving. It's don't hold out for the extra 20 pounds. Like, oh no, I'm going to refuse this offer. Like, just, that's my main thing.
Just keep reinvesting.
Keep reinvesting. Take when you have customers, take that. Yeah. And it's going to be a returning customer if he likes the service and everything.
Yeah. That's a good point. Even with what we do now with Kicks Force, it's such a new baby company, and it's such a small scale, and it's a lot different. Although it's sneakers, it's so different to what you do. But the one common theme is those reoccurring customers. One, if you get their shoes shipped out on time, they come in decent condition, and you're just nice and polite to them, and treat them not like a customer, but like a human. Yeah. Then it's not like a business transaction all the time. Yeah.
I'm still so shocked sometimes with people that I deal with who are just so difficult to deal with. Not very friendly, gonna be super firm on prices. Like, it's a business. Like, I'm a customer, even if I'm a reseller, I'm still a customer right now if I'm buying from you. So do your best to make me want to buy from you. You know, that's like number one above everything for sure. Yeah.
Sick. And in terms of moving away from reselling a little bit, in terms of your personal collection, like you would definitely, I'd assume, call yourself like a sneakerhead. What is your personal collection looking like?
So it's, I'd say it's like much more humble than my actual like inventory. Like I struggle to spend more than, like the most I ever spent on a pair was $800. Like it's, I don't go crazy.
That's big considering the amount you resell, like the business.
Yeah. Just because it's, first of all, like there's always ways of like being different and finding cool stuff without necessarily buying the expensive stuff. And I think that's something that people really, really underestimate. And they're either going to want like the cool, expensive stuff, maybe because it's cool and rare, but it has that price tag attached to it. And they're just going to do it anyways. Or they're going to say like, I don't know, like you know, with the budget I have, you know, there's nothing much I can buy that's crazy, you know, but you can, like, for example, these shoes, Air Force Ones from 2004. Sick. Crazy, like, you know, contrast stitching, brown midsole, like you're not going to see any of them. Not going to see anyone with these from 2004, 50 pounds, you know, sick. Like almost brand new. And that's what I love, you know, like finding stuff that's a bit different without being the traditional go-to stuff that everyone's going to go for. I can resonate with that a little bit. I think for me it's I used to be like obsessed with like dressing really, really well, having the newest crepes, having the most expensive crepes. And I think this was like from like kind of hypebeast era from like 2016 to like, I don't know, maybe 2018, 2019. Yeah. But now I have a decent collection, quite a lot of pairs, but I would literally wear one or two a week. And that's it. The same. I've literally been wearing the what's on my feet now and a pair of New Balances because they're just so comfortable. On my style, it sounds bizarre, my style has got so much worse over the years now that I actually have a career in fact like this weird fashion space and streetwear. Like I get all the time, I get comments like, bro, your drip's dead or shit like that. And it's evolved. It's like, yeah, mate, I literally don't have any interest in like proportions or looking particularly good or color blocking or like matching stuff. Like I literally just wear shit that is either from a brand I like this is today. It's from a guy who I really like. I get on really well with, like a bit of a mentor for me. It's his brand. And that's it. I literally put it on, didn't think anything of it, and went out the door. And that's it. And I literally, it's really weird. It's actually really weird saying it out loud, but that's. I mean, I do definitely care a lot about the shoes that I wear and that I buy. Like, it's not like I don't, but it's just, you know, where the importance for me is in having something unique that has a story that's personal as well, and not sure. I don't want to wear something just because you know, everyone likes it. Like, you know, and obviously I love the vintage stuff because that, you know, kind of represents as well what I'm about. So I'm always going to dig in the depths of eBay and things like that. So, but yeah, my sneaker collection, I think it's about like around 50 pairs, and half of it is old school stuff, and nothing too crazy.
No, I like what you said about the personal aspect for sure. I mean, like probably a little bit of a different approach, but some of the stuff that I love now and have in my wardrobe and I will wear regularly, or maybe not even wear that much, but like I just like being in a wardrobe and stuff I'm never going to sell, is stuff that I kind of wanted back in the day but I couldn't afford. So like a lot of that is from Supreme and Palace. So like that's what initially got me into it. Like me and my mates would sit at college and like talk about shit that's releasing. I'll be like, bro, how can people afford to spend 158 quid on the box logo? And now it's like, I'm buying a lot of that stuff that I never had back in the day. And it's not in trend at all. It's not really that stylish anymore. It's definitely not like I can't do an outfit with it on TikTok, But yeah, I think there's a lot more the personal aspect. Is a lot of people miss that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Sweet. So you obviously sold some shoes to some pretty cool people, and I know you have a cool story about selling a pair of crepes to Lil Yachty. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so it wasn't just one pair. So Lil Yachty, actually, the very start was also pretty cool. Like how I got in touch with him a few years before the real good story, but he was doing an Instagram live with I think it was with Offset, and they were showing each other's sneaker collections. Okay. And so I tuned in, and one of the guys that I follow, like we follow each other, this guy named Corey, young Corey on Instagram. He I saw he commented on the live. It was during COVID, Instagram lives were huge.
Yeah.
And I saw Yachty acknowledging yo, what's up, Corey, or something. I was like, oh, so they're tight. So I messaged Corey and I was like, yo, bro, do you think you could, hit up Yachty? I think he'll mess with my stuff. So he did. And, maybe an hour later, Lil Yachty hit me up yo, wow, what you got for me or something. So that was the first introduction, first purchase he made. I think he bought 8 pairs in one go. And, obviously very nice selection, rare stuff. Yeah. He knows his shit, and he likes to be also a bit different. So it's not going to be the traditional SBs. He already has those, but a bit more niche stuff that I really love as well. And so he's bought from me a few times over that time span, 2 years. And then actually a year, so not last summer before, he was in London. I think it was Wireless Festival or something. I was at the festival, he was performing. And then my friend who works at Kick Game hit me. So I see he tries calling me at 8 p.m. and Yachty had already performed in the afternoon, and I'm at the festival enjoying my time with my brother and everything. And I'm I'll reply later. It's time to, enjoy, not think about work. I'll call him back later. And then I call him back an hour later, and he's like, bro, I was trying to call you. Yachty's pulling up to the store because, he shot that Kick Game video. Sneaker shopping, and he was would have been great to have you and bring some really cool stuff, because Kick Game mostly do the more mainstream things. So I was fuck, I missed the opportunity. I had never met Yachty at that point yet, and it would have been just a sick kind of moment. Yeah, and I was just so frustrated that I didn't pick up the call, or that I didn't make myself available. And I just remember one of my friends telling me it's just a matter of time. You'll have another opportunity. If you had this opportunity, you'll have another one. Don't, stress about it. And then 1 year later, Yachty was back in London again, concert tour or whatever. And this time I'm do you want to pull up to my spot, check out the shoes and everything? So he did. He came with a bodyguard and a random friend of his, this American foreign exchange student who lives in London, this kid who was in his high school, they're old friends, but this random guy, and go into my stock rooms, and before, so I'm okay, so this is my section with your size 10, 10 and a half. And he's before anything, let me give you the cash that I owe you, because he still owed me a couple thousand for his last purchase. Yeah. And I'm oh, cool. And he gives me the cash, and I'm I appreciate you, because he made that gesture first, before anything else, let me get this straight first. And I'm oh, appreciate you. And he's nah, I appreciate you. So that was really cool. And then he wasn't, he still had that vibe of he's on the phone, or checking his phone as I show him the shoes. he's still a star and has that attitude. But that was a very genuine moment. And then he picked out 4 pairs of kicks that were quite specific, all of them super vintage, like 1992 Air Force One, 1985 Convention, 1987 Air Dunk, like a super rare version of a dunk and everything. 4 pairs, did the deal, didn't negotiate or anything, paid me in cash. And then like, I was kind of more chill because I was like, okay, the business side of things is done. Like, and I'm like, do you play 2K? Because I've seen him post stories of he's like, sometimes he plays 2K while he's at an NBA game. Like it's crazy. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, are you, do you have to go anywhere or are you chilling? And he's like, I'm chilling. And I'm like, should we play? He's like, let's do it. And so we played a game of 2K. I was up the whole game, trash talking, because like at that point I was like, okay, we're chilling now. Trash talking, like it was quite fun. And then I'm like up 2 points, 3 seconds left or something, my possession. So I'm like, I'm gonna like turn it over, give you the ball, give you an opportunity to tie the game. And he tied the game at the buzzer. So he was like, yeah, and everything. And then overtime, and I beat him in overtime. So that was a cool moment. And then he left. Like my brother is a huge Lil Yachty fan, and like just the fact that he came to my actual place and like sat on my couch
genuine,
and
like it seems
and it was like a fun moment to share, and that also goes beyond just business. I'm not saying that I'm friends with Lil Yachty, but it's just cool to have real life interactions and kind of connections with people that are obviously up there in their fields and that are looked up to, and especially even in the sneaker space, like not just hip hop, Lil Yachty is one of the the real ones in terms of collections, knowledge, passion. So that was really a cool moment.
That's crazy, man. It's nice to hear stuff like that, because you would imagine like people like him who are right at the top. You do hear some kind of like horror stories about not him individually, but like big celebrities and big rappers being just like dicks. It's nice to hear that he gave just chill, man. Just like a really normal guy. Sick. So I know you've also sold crepes to Chloe Moretz. Yeah. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so that was pretty random. Like I'm not too connected to like the acting world. Like it's much less of an industry that I interact with than like hip hop and sports. But Chloe Moretz is one of those super low key but high key sneakerheads. She follows like the relevant people in the space that do cool shit, and like she supports them. Like she's shouted me out a few times, and it's not like I'm seeding free stuff like to get shout outs. Like she genuinely interacts. Like sometimes she responds to stories. I mean, less so recently, but there was a time that she was really, really big into, she probably still is, just interacting less with my content, RIP. But she, really genuine sneakerhead. Like she looks for specific things and likes having something different, the vintage stuff, and very genuine person as well. And you wouldn't think, I don't know, like,
you would never get up.
Yeah, pretty surprising, but really cool. And you can see that she follows a lot of people in the sneaker space.
That's sick.
It's dope. Yeah.
So when someone like her, does she just DM you, or do you reach out to her?
I think I probably saw something, because otherwise I didn't really know of her, to be honest. For sure. Probably seen maybe like Complex Sneakers or something posting her an outfit where she's wearing a cool pair of sneakers or something. So I messaged her like, yo, let me.
And then she gets back to that.
And the crazy thing is, I remember specifically that she got back to me like a few months later. So like, I think I had messaged her like in maybe December 2020 or something. And she got back to me like in February of the following year. And I was just super surprised that, because you would think if a celebrity does get back to you, it's because they saw your request, like in your in their recent request, and they just happened to see your DM then, and they respond. But like 3 months later, like she must have so many DMs.
Yeah, there's no way she's going through that.
Maybe she actually found my page another way and wanted to and saw that I had messaged her, because I'd actually be surprised that she scrolled through thousands of DMs and stumbled across mine. So, but I did reach out first.
Wow, no shame in that, man. That's cool,
no shame.
That's sick, man.
Yeah.
Cool. So Dennis has brought in some of the rarest pairs he owns. They're absolutely crazy. So, bro, do you want to talk us through a few of them?
Yeah. So, first ones that I wanted to show kind of where everything started. 1985 Jordan 1 Chicago. And I brought this one as well, which is the 1984 Airship, which is the actual first shoe that Michael Jordan wore before the Jordan 1. So I thought it made sense to kind of show them together, because this is kind of the younger brother of the Jordan 1 that MJ wore kind of while he was waiting for the Jordan 1 to
sparked it all off. Yeah. So talk us through, what is the value of the Airship now, like this OG?
So it's one of those pairs that's quite difficult to price. Like there's no market. It's unfindable. I would, I'm confident that I can sell it for $10,000. I wouldn't sell it for less. It's the type of pairs that will only go up in value in terms of rarity and historical value, especially. And this specific colorway is the colorway that MJ wore. He only wore this one and the black and red colorway of the Airship, which was the real band shoe, by the way. Not the Jordan 1, because when the whole band thing happened with the NBA, the Jordan 1 hadn't been like released or even worn by Michael Jordan yet. So the Airship is the silhouette that was not the silhouette that was banned, but the bread Airship was the pair that was banned, and that was the other colorway. And then obviously the 85 Chicago. Also, what's really cool about this specific pair is it's a size 13.
Yeah.
Which is Michael Jordan's size. So that's why I kind of chose to bring a size 13. Makes it definitely even more valuable, not only because it's a rare size, big size, but also because it has that historical value of being the size that Michael Jordan wore.
Yeah.
So that's a very cool.
So what is the value on the 85s?
I'd say so it depends on the condition. I mean, this one isn't the cleanest. I'd say maybe between like $4,000 and $5,000. A DS pair of size 13 85s would be at least 25,000. Yeah, for sure, because it's a size 13. Regular DS pairs go for $15,000 to $25,000, depending on whether you have the original hang tag, the original box. The box alone sells for $2,000. Wow! Like in order to then complete the set, it which will increase the value by obviously more than $2,000. So crazy. So yeah, but 85 Chicagos are the most common 85 Jordan 1 colorway. It's not something you can't find. It's and it's not something that people can't afford. Like you can buy $2,000 1985 Chicagos in like size 9, 10, 11 in worn condition, and that's cheaper than like an off-white Chicago.
That's true.
And the historical value is so pretty crazy.
More, yeah. Wow, man.
Yeah, and it's wearable and everything. So
beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And you've got a couple more?
So these two pairs are Reeboks. Over the past year and a half, I really got into a specific niche of Reeboks, which are the Ice Creams and the Sean Carter's S Dots. So the Sean Carter is Jay-Z's, personal kind of silhouette that was made in collaboration with Jay-Z's Sean Carter, obviously his name. And this pair is one of the 4 colorways of the Kanye West College Dropout samples. So there's about, and this is my favorite colorway of all of them.
Beautiful.
And this is in Kanye's size. The box says promo sample made for Kanye West, and there's about 50 pairs of each colorway in existence.
Wow. That's crazy, man.
And this is the type of stuff that I really love in terms of, you know, storytelling, just something you don't see every day, and still very, very cool story around them.
So what is the value, and when did these release?
Same thing, 2006.
2006.
So same thing, very, very difficult to say, but like realistically, I'd say between $6,000 and $8,000.
That's crazy. Beautiful.
I wish they were worth more, but just because you look at like College Dropout Babestas, which are much more available than the Sean Carters, they go like a DS pair is going to be between $8,000 and $12,000 for the College Dropout Babestas.
Yeah.
This is so much rarer. This is just, you can't find this. College Dropout, if you can afford it, you can't find it. And it's not worth as much just because people don't know as much about it. So people are going to be looking for it less, and there's going to be just a bit less hype around it, but still super cool. And then the whole ice cream line, I've been pretty big on it as well since about a year. There's so many cool colorways. This is not my favorite. I couldn't find my favorite one. My favorite one is kind of a reverse. It's the watermelon colorway, which is green and pink, kind of reverse without the piss yellow.
They're bold. They're bold.
It's obviously attached to Pharrell Williams and Ice Cream, Billionaire Boys Club. And from 2004 to 2007, Pharrell had his line with Reebok as well. Well, not really his line. It's more his brand's line, because it doesn't say Pharrell on it. It says Ice Cream.
Yeah.
But I think super underappreciated silhouette. I think it's like the skateboard version of the Adidas Samba in terms of shape.
Yeah, for sure.
And just very funky colorways. Yeah. And same thing. I love that kind of stuff. Just showing people what's out there and that people don't necessarily know about because it's old and not as hype as like the more recognizable SBs and things like that from the time.
Yeah, and they've got such the rarity is, like you said, it's not a traditional sneaker. It is like a form of art, and that kind of world, which fascinates me. So interesting, man. It's so interesting.
And the ice creams, unlike the Sean Carters, which were a sample. So Sean Carters were an inline model, just this specific with the bear. Those are samples, but the ice creams were super available line. They were selling at outlets, for like $30 back in the day. So
like getting hold of a sample pair. How hard is that?
So this one I got from like a guy who works in the music industry, who's from Chicago, and probably has had connects over the years and like ended up with them, and like, you make connections through common people. They know that I'm looking for a pair. Someone knows where it is. Put the collector in touch with me, and then
different.
I don't have any secret. I think some people get those plugs and like with like Nike employees or things like that. I don't have that. It's more like just digging in and connections.
Yeah, networking, I imagine, is a huge part of getting hold of stuff like this.
Yeah, for sure.
And you got another pair?
And this is the last one. So super cool. This colorway only released as a kid's size in 2004, Flame Dunk Low. But this is actually a size 10.5, and it's a promo sample. So it never released in men's sizes. So it's one of the only pairs out there in, men's size.
Yeah, I like these.
And I have the original box with the sample tag as well on there. And actually, I don't know if you've followed that. Gallery Department just had a collab with Vans.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
So the cool story about that is that the guy, Josue, who's the guy behind Gallery Department, he's bought a few pairs from me over the years. And I posted these like a year ago. And he asked me if I could find a pair in his size. And I told him it's... there's only samples, but I had a pair in women's size, and he bought it for his girlfriend. And then 6 months later or something, he told me he had a collab coming up with Vans, and he showed me one of the pairs is exactly like this.
Wow, of course.
He sent me the pair of Vans. So now it's like one of my favorite pairs in my collection because, it has that, I know where the inspo comes from, and it's straight from this dunk,
Yeah, this is really nice. I feel like with a kind of flame design, it's really on the border of being quite cringe sometimes. But I think with the metallic swoosh and the
contrast white stitching, all over.
And the inner red matching with the flame, it's really clean, man.
Yeah,
like really, really nice.
Yeah, and the cool story around this specific pair that I just actually bought like a few weeks ago when I was in the US, because I've had a few of the kids sizes, like size 7s. That's the biggest size. But a men's sample, I recently purchased this one. And actually I was bugging this guy for so long, like to sell it to me. I was on the flight to San Francisco like a couple of weeks ago, and we were closing the deal. Like I got Wi-Fi on the plane just so I'm able to still work on the plane.
Yeah.
And I was about to PayPal him, and then I'm like, just out of curiosity, like, where are you based? Because I buy most of my shoes in the US.
Yeah.
And he's like, Bay Area, and I'm like, bro, I'm landing in San Francisco in 2 hours. And he's like, oh, sick. Like, I'll pick you up and like, let's do it in person. So I landed in San Francisco, and this guy came like with his wife was driving the car. His daughter was in the back seat, and like picked me up from the airport. Super nice family, drove me to my hotel, and like, made the deal happen in person. And there's that kind of story around it as well. So, and he's had it for like 10 years and bought it for $250 10 years ago, wow. Random eBay steal.
Yeah.
And now like I, obviously paid a much more hefty price, but it's worth it because of the rarity and that's how fire it is. But
did we touch on the value? Because I was too busy looking at the shoe to pay attention.
In terms of value, same thing. Very, very tough to say. Depends. Like, this is the type of thing you could auction off at Sotheby's. It's not going to go crazy. Like, it's not going to go for like 10,000 or anything. But I think it could go for 5. It could go for 4. So that's what I'm hoping. We'll see.
Sick, bro. Well, thanks for bringing them in, man.
Yeah,
they are absolutely crazy. I mean, the dunks are something special. Sweet. So I know another big thing in the space at the moment, and something that I've had problems with before, and I imagine is a really big thing when you're dealing with expensive pairs like yourself and big name clients. How do you legit check? Or what is the process?
Yeah. So again, quite specific to my niche. Fortunately, it's a niche where you don't really get much fakes. It happens, but it's quite easy to spot because fakes weren't as good back then. It's much more difficult. Like, you can't fake a 20-year-old sneaker right now. Like, I would tell immediately in terms of materials, the tag, like something's gonna, especially when you deal with so many pairs over time, you just, something's
so
off,
different,
So, and I've actually never actually seen or had in hand a new fake of an old shoe. I've had a few old fakes, because fakes have always been a thing. But they're just not as good. So it's not something that's really part of my activity, like legit checking, just because it's quite easy to spot if it ever happens as well. And because the vintage and the collectors community is it's so much more niche than the mainstream sneaker space, that you're going to have much less scamming going on. It's people who genuinely care about this stuff that are going to get into depths like these pairs, so fortunately I'm in a niche where I don't have to worry too much about that.
That's cool. I love that, because the lady behind the camera who helps me with Kicks Force and the rest of our team. So when we sell it, when we're buying our shoes, bro, it's a big problem, man.
I can imagine. And I don't like with recent stuff. I couldn't tell you. Mm-hmm. I couldn't do a legit check. So I stay away from recent stuff.
It's so hard, man. We have to pay for, I mean, it's for the best, really. We make sure everyone, we don't sell any fakes, but we pay a decent whack per shoe to get them legit checked. And the lads who work for me and myself as well are pretty decent at it, but it's a full-time job. Checking
you have to really dig into it with like lights and like.
And I mean, when I do a lot of videos on like, covering like fake shoes and like kind of what's happening in the space. Definitely not promoting them at all, but like checking out what people are doing, what people like my age and younger are doing to acquire cool shoes when that aren't real. And a lot of the stuff we're looking into, mate, is just crazy. Like the manufacturers who do these, who like create these fakes, they buy the shoe and they copy it from head to toe, and it's genuinely terrifying how close it looks, man. It's wild out there.
Another reason why I get into the old stuff. It's a safer industry. There's more money to be made, I think. It's an industry that brings together people who actually care. So it's just a great space to be in, and I know how challenging it can be with like legit checking stuff and the risks of selling fakes and everything. Like, it's just not something I want to be a part of.
Because we speak about it all the time. We're like, bro, we can't. We have to legit check tip to like head to toe, because if I sell one fake, obviously it would be a complete accident, obviously. But if Kicks Force was to sell a fake, it'd be like one, it like fucks over the customer, which is really, really wrong. But two, there could be like it takes one video to basically slander the entire business. Rightfully so, if we were to sell a fake, obviously completely wrong. But we're so close just to.
I mean, like, if it's, I think errors are inevitable, to be honest. Like, if you think about it, StockX is. There is no reason why StockX would not be careful with fakes, and the fact that fakes go through StockX, I'm not blaming StockX.
No, of course.
I think that StockX is getting way too bad of a rap because 100%, of all the industry leaders in the space. StockX is by far the leader. Like, everyone goes to StockX to check prices, to buy shoes if they don't find them anywhere else, and like. There's no reason why they wouldn't be at the top of their game in terms of legit checking. If they still make mistakes, it means that everyone can make mistakes, and that it's a very dangerous game out there.
It's human error, but like when all the StockX stuff came out, they put out a statement. I can't remember the amount of shoes but that go through their services, but it is millions and millions. It's literally product, insane, and they do have to hire people, and those people are humans, and they could simply make a mistake. Something just could so small could go wrong, and then all it takes is this public exposure, because when you're right at the top, everyone's watching, and that's at any industry.
To me, the key here is if you do make a mistake, is to make up for it in the best possible way, and that's where StockX, I think, could do a better job, because like I got a pair that was clearly damaged, like legit and everything, but like that should not have passed the thing because it had scratches like on a few places on the pair and everything. I was actually shocked that they passed it because I remember having a few pairs denied because like the box had a slight rip. And I'm like, how did this go through? And then when I emailed customer service, they offered me a $60 voucher, and it was like a $900 pair. And I'm like, that's the problem. Because that's where the customer service should be like, especially StockX. I mean, you're turning over millions of dollars. That's where you should be like, you know what? We'll refund you half of the pair, you know, or give you a voucher of half of the value of the pair, not like $60 on a $900 purchase. But as long as you acknowledge your mistakes and make up for them, I think, legit checking is tough and like, gotta be, you know, honest. It's human error is always possible. So
on the subject of like middleman authenticating, how do you feel about eBay? Because obviously that came out a couple of years ago now, maybe 2 years ago, and obviously then it's like bringing pre-loved authentication has made a huge improvement to my life, but just from personal and from business. 100%. And they are like, from my experience, they're really, really good. So what
I love it. I love it. I think it's great because eBay, I barely caught the pre-authenticity guarantee days because I've only been in the game for like almost 4 years now. So like maybe I caught like a year and a half of that, and then they started the authenticity thing. But if you think about it, eBay was kind of like the Wild West before. Still a safe space when you're buying vintage stuff because what I said, but like, you can't legit check a pair from photos. So it's super important. I think it's a no-brainer that they did that. And
let's see, I've got a lot of time for them because I have worked with them. I ran a campaign with them last year when they were sick. But also I think they've tried to call me throughout this podcast. So we buy a lot of kicks from there, and they phone you up when something doesn't pass.
They email you or email you like asking, is that like cool? Like the box has this problem, or it's missing the laces or something. And I really respect that, man. And that's what the whole like community is built on. I think it's just communication. Shout out Wahaj.
That's sick. That's sick, man. So, bro, you have a brand coming out called Outsole. Do you want to run me through it?
So the brand actually has been, I started the brand 2.5 years ago, but I took like a year break because, I just had to focus on my main business and kind of rekindle a few things. But the brand is called Outsole, spelled S-O-U-L, not S-O-L-E. The logo is the bottom of the dunk. So like the circles with the line. I don't actually have it here, but sorry. And the concept is kind of telling cool stories from the good age, the good times of from sneaker culture through, I'd say like a sort of bootleg-ish thing. So like right now I'm rocking a PlayStation. So we're bringing a PlayStation-inspired collection.
That's cool.
The link with sneakers obviously is the PlayStation Air Force One. This cap, full gray, is kind of a nod to the PlayStation One. You know, being this color, and all the pieces in the collection are either like inspired from the PlayStation Air Force One or elements from the PlayStation. And the logo obviously says OS for Outsole instead of PS for PlayStation. And I've had a few collections like inspired from, 1985 with like black and red themes and like just cool chapters from sneaker history. Kind of paying tribute to that and creating something new. So coming soon, and really trying to make a real push with the brand, because I think there's a lot of potential in terms of storytelling and design kind of
it's
ideas.
nice to hear there's a kind of core foundation pushing it, like the whole idea of capturing and rekindling moments that happened in the past.
And really so even the logo obviously being based on the soul of you're not gonna, I was gonna say like show the soul of
we could take my shoes off.
But so the circle here, this is kind of the base of the logo.
Sick.
And sneaker culture really started in 1985 with the Jordan 1 and the Dunk coming out that same year. And it only made sense to have that as a logo because it's at the soul of those historic shoes, represents that whole kind of part of sneaker culture and is a good kind of general logo for the brand. So yeah, the whole idea is just to create sneaker related products without it being tacky, number one, because it doesn't say, like I'm a sneakerhead. It's more subtle. Inspirations and you don't have to necessarily buy like a PlayStation Air Force One to rock something that
has that brand
alludes to that. So exciting stuff coming soon. Stay tuned.
Sick, man. Well, you have to keep me posted, bro. I will stay posted.
For sure.
I think that about wraps us up. So big up SneakerDenn. Thanks for coming on, man. It's been a real pleasure. You really know your stuff, so it's been sick. I've learned a lot. I thought that was always going to happen. And big up for bringing the stuff in, man. I know they're very expensive pairs. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me as your first.
Yeah, bro. There will be some more guests as well. Hopefully, it's going to become like a weekly guest format because, like I said before, it was a solo pod, and bro, it was hard. Like it was probably one of the hardest things I've ever done. Is just sitting here rekindling all the information because you can't like cut. It's not like when I came into this, I thought it was going to be like a TikTok type video thing where I could be like, or a YouTube video where I could be like, well, the release date is the 7th of November. And then I'll be like, look at my phone, look at the script. Nope. Just keep waffling. I have to know everything. But this is good, man. This is good. So every Monday, 6 p.m, Spotify, YouTube, all streaming platforms. Please watch it so I do not need to get a proper job. And man, it's been a pleasure. Big love for the support and I'll see you Monday, 6 p.m.